From the time of recording this, it has been exactly 21 days since I last posted about the Infinity Castle arc, so obviously it's time to bring it back. What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another video, and yes, like I said, it has been a few weeks since I discussed the Infinity Castle arc specifically. Obviously I've been making lots of Demon Slayer videos, as I do, and the one that I posted 3 weeks ago was kind of not on the schedule, so it's time to bring back some discussion of the first movie. Now, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I actually have a lot of videos planned. I intend to break things down manga to animation at a very deep level. There's one big problem with that. The movie is pretty much not accessible to me anymore. It only really plays at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, or it's an English dub. And for reasons, I can't do either one. It makes it just really difficult because I haven't seen the movie in 2 months. And that's kind of crazy how much time has gone by. I saw it 6 times in September. I haven't been able to see it at all in October or November, and I think it's gonna stay that way because it's only gonna dwindle down from here. So there are lots of videos planned, but a lot of those videos are gonna have to wait until the movie comes to streaming, unfortunately, because I need to be able to just look and review it because there will be things I forget. But there are still other videos I can do without having the movie immediately in the forefront of my brain, and today we're gonna just talk about 2 moments from the manga that was taken out of the movie and why I think these were important. But before we dive into today's video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts. We are almost at 90,000 subscribers. If we can hit that before the end of November, I think we might be well on our way to hitting 100,000 by the end of 2025, which was my goal from the very start. So if you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, join the party, and also make sure you stay up to date on all of my videos. Now, I want to just say a quick disclaimer. This video is in no way, shape, or form trying to drag the movie at all. I thought very highly of the movie. I really, really enjoyed it enough to go and see it 6 times in 3 weeks. So don't read this as me being like, the movie was bad. If you go back and watch any of my videos about like initial thoughts, they were all 10s out of 10s. But I do remember the first time I saw the movie, this moment that I'm about to talk about was a very important moment to me. In fact, one of the manga panels is one of, if not my favorite manga panels in the entire story. Now, that particular panel was in the movie, but what followed was not. That's what they took out. And it was definitely a little bit disappointing because I think it made the big moment that I loved so much not have quite as much gusto, I don't know how to describe it, as it did when I read the manga. And this is when Giyu is fending off Akaza after Tanjiro has beheaded him and Tanjiro is now unconscious in the wall. Giyu is trying to protect Tanjiro. And of course, in the manga, this scene was in the movie. It's when he says, if you want to kill Tanjiro, you first must defeat me. Now, I'm going to be very clear. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite part of this. However, in the movie, right after this, it goes straight into Akaza's backstory, and it stayed there for, I think, a majority of his backstory before we actually came back to the present scene of what was happening in the Infinity Castle. But in the manga, it goes a bit differently than this. So right after Giyu shouts at Akaza, if you want to kill Tanjiro, you have to defeat me first, Akaza is then reminded of Keizo, his sensei slash new father, right? About how they don't carry samurai, they carry samurai in their hearts because they fight with their fists. And then Koyuki says, Hakuji, that's enough. From there in the movie, like I said, it just goes right into his backstory. But in the manga, we then go back to Giyu. So Giyu says, this is bad, I can't see very well, I'm about to pass out. I can't hear anything at all with my left ear, my right hand has no feeling, I have strength, but for how long? Now, they did put that earlier in. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that actually was before his big, if you want to kill Tanjiro, first defeat me. I could be misremembering that, but that was definitely in there. However, this goes into a little bit more detail. Sprinting isn't something you can do for a long time. If a normal person runs at full speed for just 10 seconds, they'll be totally out of breath. When you keep going past that, your speed drops and then the precision of your technique falls. Your muscles strain and your hands and feet get heavy like lead. demons can't feel exhaustion or pain. In a fight against an upper-ranked demon, maintaining full strength for a long time is a miracle that only someone who can use breathing techniques can do. Now, this, I think, right here was very important lore, because they never really fully explore. They do in the anime for sure, but this just reminds us how difficult it is for even these super strong, almost inhuman-like humans, what a disadvantage they are at against demons, because they will get that fatigue. They can only fight for so long. Demons don't have that. So it's a reminder that we are up against these foes that are just naturally stronger than us. We have to usurp the regular lifespan, or the life, I don't even know how to word it, usurp the regular energy levels of a regular human being. And that theme continues on in the story after this. So I feel like that was important. Now, they do change it to a box, which means it could actually be an outside narrator. The manga does have an outside narrator, which means it's someone who is not a character within the story. They decided to nix that in the anime for whatever reason, and a lot of the narrator lines now get passed on to Tanjiro. And because he already has a lot of dialogue, and then also in the anime, he has the task of also kind of being the narrator, they do take out a lot of narration lines, because then it becomes so dialogue heavy that it would just be really cheesy. But the problem is sometimes they take out narration lines that can create plot holes almost. I feel like a lot of people that constantly are calling out plot holes within Demon Slayer are probably anime onlys, and that's on UFO table, I guess you could say. But again, this is not like a video that's meant to drag them. I'm noticing something and I want to make a video about it because that's what I do. So we go over that, and then this is the moment that I'm really sad they took out, because this just makes a scene where he told Akaza, if you want to kill Tanjiro, you have to defeat me first. It comes full circle in this moment. Giyu says, I must pass on what was entrusted to me. Never again will I let my family or friends die before my eyes. I will save him. I will save Tanjiro the same way I was saved. I think I touched on this in one of my other videos, but I only did it briefly because it was like a 2-hour-long video or something along those lines. This is a huge moment for Giyu, and I feel like we cut half of it out. I think that this is an incredibly important moment for Giyu because it directly parallels him with Akaza. And what I mean with that is both Giyu and Akaza are these characters that vowed to protect people over and over and over again and then failed, right? They couldn't protect anyone that they loved. And Giyu right now is kind of overcoming that fear because after he lost Sabito, he shut down. He refused to get close with anyone. That's why he's been so standoffish, because he's not inherently this quiet, emo person like we see now. He was a very happy and smiley child. We saw that when he was with Sabito. His quiet demeanor now was forced because of him losing so many people that he loved. He couldn't protect them, so he became who he is. And this, he's like opening up. He's starting to overcome that and become what he really is, and that is someone who loves the people that he loves and wants to protect them very dearly. So he's like overcoming this moment. And then we go into Akaza's backstory where we see that he wanted to protect these people and he could not protect them. But his story is ending while Giyu's is kind of just beginning. I think that's beautiful. I think Gotoge has a lot of nuance within their writing, and it kind of just takes some of that out. I don't know why they took this out. I don't think it would have interrupted the flow whatsoever. It makes me definitely a little bit disappointed because, like I said, it did make the scene before this where he does shout, if you want to kill Tanjiro, you have to defeat me first, which, like I said, is one of my favorite things in the entire manga, not hold as much weight, personally. So they took that out, and that was definitely a it knocked the movie from a 10 out of 10 to a 9.9 out of 10. What can I say? And I didn't really think about that when I was first posting my initial reaction because I was so focused on everything that I loved. But as I watched the movie more and I was like, wait a second, this wasn't there, I was pretty disappointed by it. So that is an important moment for Giyu that got taken out. The next thing that I want to talk about was also from that fight. If you all know me at all, you might find this predictable that all of the things that I have to talk about has to do with this fight. I promise there's more to come about the others, but it's gonna have to wait till the movie comes out to streaming probably. I do want to say just a quick kind of spoiler warning for this one because this one doesn't make me as mad. I personally think it's just getting moved to the next movie because it is really important lore that needs to be said. I think they just didn't want to take us out of the fight where this happens in the manga. So manga spoilers ahead, I guess. While this does take place during the fight against Akaza, which has been animated, I do genuinely think this is just getting moved to the next movie. So if you don't want to know this information, then there's your chance to turn away. This takes place in chapter 149. This is while Tanjiro and Akaza are fighting while Giyu was coming back, like right before Giyu came back and said, my back hurts, and his mark manifested. It's while Akaza is like going after Tanjiro. So Tanjiro actually gets Akaza's neck a little bit when he made his like sword extend. It then goes to Senjuro, and Senjuro is praying to Kyojiro, his older brother, and he's saying, Aniki, a large fight has begun and father has gone to be with master. Please protect father and Tanjiro. The letter I wrote has been delivered to Tanjiro, right? It's a trivial thing, but the writings in the books of the Flame Hashira may be helpful. It's a conversation between the Flame Hashira of that time and a swordsman of sun breathing. I wrote in the letter that the swordsman who wields sun breathing, the most basic technique, said about the time he confronted Muzan. The Flame Hashira, who was my ancestor, lost confidence. But Tanjiro won't lose. He will open a path into the future. Isn't that right? So there is more to this scene that is on a later chapter. So very, very important to note that this is like in the middle of the fight because we literally go from the time that Tanjiro like wounded Akaza's neck to when Akaza like grabs his blade and Tanjiro is trying to free himself from that, and then Giyu shows up. There's more to this little tidbit of information, and that is not until quite a few chapters from now. So that's why I think this particular scene is just going to get moved. Maybe it'll get moved to like the first scene of the next movie. There was that moment with the bird where we can see that the letter did not get to Tanjiro in time, but what this shows in the manga, it doesn't even show exactly what Senjuro is talking about. So I think for the sake of continuity, they're planning on taking that part and moving it to the next movie where they explain it, like what was in the letter and everything. It is a very, very important part, and I know a lot of people were looking forward to seeing Yoriichi animated again. I was too. We did not get it. It's okay. We'll see plenty of him in the next two. But nonetheless, as of right now, it does seem like maybe they are removing it. Again, I think it's so important. It's just getting moved. That's just my prediction. But that's a big scene that got removed that a lot of people were looking forward to. The first one kind of hurt my feelings. The second one, I don't care as much because I know there's more to come for that, so it's clear that they're just gonna add it. But those are two scenes from the manga that I think maybe Ufotable dropped the ball, I guess you could say. I don't know how to word it. Again, this doesn't really make the movie bad. Obviously, I freaking love the movie. Can't wait to see it again and 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 again. But I do wish they would have added that stuff with Giyu. Maybe if they release it episodically, they'll add that, but I don't know why they removed that part with Giyu. It's such an important part for his character, in my opinion, and I don't know why. I don't know why they would do that, but that is going to be it for today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one. Matane!